Chris, thanks for sitting down with us today.
Well, thanks for having me here.
So we have a few questions we want to talk about. The history of Middleburg, where you see us going after our first 20 years, what the next 20 years look like. So let's start with what inspired you to build Middleburg starting in 2004? And are there any particular favorite memories from when we started, from those early days?
So, look, I wouldn't call it inspiration as much as I would call it, data is really what was the catalyst for starting Middleburg. In 2004, the data was pretty compelling regarding an investment strategy in multifamily real estate. There was a lot of demographic trends at that point in time that were pointing to increased demand for housing, and yet development and even investment on an institutional scale was not really where we expected it to go. And so I would say it was the opportunity that compelled the beginning of Middleburg. When I think about what was exciting in the early years, I think the kind of that entrepreneurial spirit, the hustling, trying to create a business plan, trying to figure out how the pieces come together, how to make something out of nothing, was in itself inspirational and just exciting. And the late nights and trying to hustle around to find deals, to finance deals, to put them together, to kind of get things going, and then to start to build a team around that was just in itself just an exciting period of time.
You mentioned the entrepreneurial spirit. I'm curious about, if I'm a new employee, how would you explain the culture of Middleburg to someone like me?
Well, I will tell you that I think it's changed over time, right? I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think as our company has matured, I think we've developed kind of a more defined corporate culture. And I think that breaks down into really 5 different pieces. And just as an aside, I don't know that I can take credit for the company culture. What I think is cool about culture is it really is something that comes up, it kind of boils up from within. And, I don't think this kind of top down, we're going to force a culture is reality. And so when I talk about culture, I think about how it has evolved and how it has grown organically within our organization. But I'd say that it really comes down to 5 key points. One is positive energy. I think in any business, there are challenges, but staying solutions oriented rather than focusing on challenges, staying positive, looking for solutions, lifting people up, empowering people, that positivity is fundamental to our organization. As you probably know, we're a fully integrated business, so team collaboration is also key. Being able to work with other people in construction, development, acquisitions, capital markets, research, management, pulling these pieces together, really leveraging the strength of all the different parts of our business is key. So the ability to collaborate and play as a team and focus as one team is really super important as well. Positive leadership, or I'll call it responsible leadership, is the other one. I was in the Marines, as you know, a long time ago. I think one of the stories that I tell people is when, after you get through the, oh my gosh, what have I done moment, and you're standing in front of the receiving hall at Parris Island and the drill instructors are yelling at you, and you've seen that image on movies and such, right? And they're saying, finally, get on the yellow footsteps, which I couldn't even see at the moment. What was so amazing to me, and the biggest lesson I think I took away from the Marine Corps experience, was this idea that every individual is a leader. And it wasn't within literally 15 minutes of that moment that the drill instructors are saying, who's going to take charge here? Who's going to take charge of this situation? Kind of inspiring leadership at the lowest level. And mind you, when you're there, you're a recruit. You're not even a Marine yet, right? I mean, you're lower than the lowest. So this idea of taking initiative and not, hey, you're allowed to take initiative, but the expectation of taking initiative to solve the company's mission, vision, and goal. And so I think that is really fundamental. It gets back to empowering leadership. And then the next one is, valuing divergent ideas, right? The idea that, look, it gets back to this team collaboration concept, the fully integrated notion of our business. There are so many great ideas, we should never let our egos get in the way of listening to the best ideas. And best ideas should always win. And they can come from the most unexpected places. So really kind of valuing that. And then lastly, I think the real key to success in any business and what we continue to push, and I think this is why we've been successful, and particularly in particular over the last few years, is perseverance, the willingness to grind it out during difficult times. You know, there's a lot to be said about having a great team and a great idea, but sometimes you just have to grind it out. You have to persevere to find success. And I think that's what we do better than anyone. I think our team has that kind of mindset of we are going to get it done, and we get it done. And so I think that's really kind of the foundation of our culture, and I think that's really what makes us different and sets us apart.